Working in the construction industry as a building surveyor has its challenges. This is how I get everything done without losing my mind. My exact system for managing projects in Notion that actually work. I stopped missing deadlines after I set up this exact workflow, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how this setup keeps me on track 100% of the time. So let's talk about it.
Feel like a bird. You keeping me happy, you give me deep. Ask me who my surgeon.
Keep getting me what I'm looking for. I just gotta tell everybody. I don't want to keep it on the low. Goddamn, I love it. I love it. Goddamn, I love it.
Hey guys, what is poppin'? It's your girl Twanaldn, aka whatever it's been today, and I am back with another video. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm your glow up bestie, and on this channel, we talk about everything growing and glowing. So if that is your vibe, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning into another one of my videos. I love you to know when I'm back. Quick disclaimer, I sound croaky. I know, bank holiday weekend just passed, I went to carnival and my voice is missing. However, that doesn't stop me from showing up and doing my videos for you guys. So on today's episode of Growing with Notion, I'm going to be showing you my project management system that I built in order for me to function at work. As you guys know from my little videos that I've posted on my channel, I am a building surveyor that works in the construction industry, and managing multiple projects can get overwhelming. So I built this system on Notion to help me manage that, and I'm here today to share that with you. So let's just dive straight into my system. So this is my overall system and what it looks like. I call it my work project management system, just plain simple. That's all it needs to be. And this is the overview of what you will see as soon as you click onto my page. Yep, there's a lot going on, but I'm going to break it down into different sections. So we're going to touch on each bit so that you can understand why it is I have put everything together, and maybe you can take some ideas to apply to your own system. Starting off with the side banner here, we have the navigation system where it covers the databases. So this is all the systems that I've built that help to manage this page entirely, as well as my timesheets. So just quickly diving into my timesheets. At my workplace, we have to input our stuff in manually because we work on so many different projects. We have to make sure we're charging each client / each project accordingly. Each budget has a certain budget, so we have to ensure that we are charging the hours we accumulate to those projects specifically. So I keep track of my timesheets via this way. It's easy for me because whilst I'm working on that day, I can just literally like 2 hours here, 3 hours here, 5 hours there. I also have a tick box section where once it's highlighted, it lets me know that I was on site this day. So that means I now have to incorporate my work expenses, my travel expenses, my food expenses, every kind of expense that was required for me to travel to site and get work done. I do 37 hours a week, so that's 7.5 hours 4 days a week, and then 7 hours on the Friday. So this just helps me to keep track because we didn't have a separate system, but we have to input all this data, and instead of coming, because we have to submit them every Friday, so instead of coming to it like, oh my god, what hours did I do, I literally come to my timesheets, and this will show me which projects I spent my time on throughout the week. It just helps me to stay on track of things and make sure that I'm inputting the right information under each project. Once that week has passed, as you can see, there's not much here. I literally take it and drag it into this archive section. So if I go into this archive section, you will see I've got a section for 2024 and I've got a section for 2025, and there's literally all my timesheets throughout the year. They're probably not in order because I literally just drag and drop and put it in there. But once like it gets like towards the end of the year, I will drag all of these and put it into my 2025 file, and then start a new file called 2026. So again, it's not accumulating here, it doesn't look messy, it looks neat, it looks easy, and it's just straightforward, which is what we love. So going back to the home page, underneath that, like I said before, this is just the databases. There's nothing much going on here. I've just literally got projects, tasks, reminders, and scope of works. Again, I'm going to show you each of these databases throughout my main system, but this is at the back end. I don't touch these. I made them once and left them here. So now back on my main page, you can see here we have today's insights. So I absolutely love this. It's like a daily notification for myself to know what is going on with myself at work, and just kind of give me like an overall holistic kind of point of view. It will say either good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but obviously I am recording this at 7 p.m. So this is why it says have a good evening, Twanaldn, and it says today's date, and then it kind of goes into my project overview. So right now I've got 41 projects that I'm working on in total. 30 of them are active and 11 of them are complete. Then in terms of my tasks, I've got 15 outstanding tasks, and then I also have to manage projects that are on site. So this section here covers how many projects that I've got on site, how many projects are starting on site this week, and how many projects are starting on site this month. This helps me to stay aware, because when you have like pre-start meetings, which is basically a meeting to speak with the client and the contractors prior to the works commencing on site, the start date could be 3, 4, 5, 6 months away. So this helps me to plop it in the diary and help me to manage that and give myself kind of like that reminder, like, okay, cool, I've got 1 project starting on site, let me see which one that is. I've got 2 projects starting this month, let me see what those are. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm always on track with my projects. Then at the bottom here, it's just little brain dump stuff that I've like have to do. It's not like directly for projects, it's more for like things around my job, like complete outstanding training. I used to put like little notes like pre-start minutes, but I've started putting those into my tasks in this section here, so that doesn't really apply anymore. But like apply for RICS, again, that's something that's for work, but it's not to do with my actual job. In the section below, I have today's reminders. So anytime I need to follow up with an email or follow up with a client, or like mainly for like following up, I use this for like, say for example, I've spoken to a client and they're trying to find out certain information, whether that's like asbestos report or health and safety or whatever. If they're like, oh, I'm looking into this, get back to me in a week or 2 weeks, I will literally put that reminder so that I can send an email or basically follow up a week or 2. And whenever that reminder is due is the day it will pop up in this box here. So I don't really have any reminders due today as I'm recording this. So at here, overall, just looking at this quickly, this is my project section. So I've put them into main folders. I'm not going to tell you what these initials stand for, but I know what they stand for. So I've got them in different sections. So this just kind of lets me know like what tasks are outstanding and what's the percentage of the project being completed, and basically just where they're at. If it's on hold, it will say like it's on hold. If it's on site, it will say it's on site. And if it's just in progress, it probably just means we're in the background working, trying to get this project moving along. So again, I've got different tabs for different clients and different things, and I've also got completed. I also have these buttons here that help me to add a client project in quickly without having to faffle about. So if as soon as I click the plus sign, it will pop up with most of the client's information that doesn't change. My project lead, or client lead I should say. So in my company, there are specific people that run a specific client. So say for example, Tesco was a client, there will be a client lead, so someone who deals with Tesco directly and Tesco's higher ups. But say for example, I go into different Tesco supermarkets to survey different Tesco warehouses or buildings, that's where I fall as a project lead. But a client lead is literally who I report to regarding all Tesco work. Doesn't matter where it is in the UK, they cover all of it. Whereas like me, I probably cover X amount under that. I hope that makes sense. So again, that's kind of like this area here. Again, these are all my tasks. As you can see, there's no task today because I'm on annual leave, so there's nothing for me to do. But usually I've got today, I've got upcoming, if there are any upcoming tasks, unassigned. So these are things that I know I need to do, but I don't know when I'm going to get it done. Maybe because I'm waiting on certain information from a third party, or maybe from a structural engineer. So I can't guarantee a date when I'm going to do this because I'm waiting on someone else. I also have overdue tasks, and you will see my overdue tasks are quite a lot. The reason why my overdue tasks do pile up is because I might agree to do it this day and maybe I was on site longer than expected, or something like popped up last minute, or the task has run over longer than I anticipated. So instead of it being a 1-day job, it might be a 2-day job, etc, etc. But to be honest, some of these are actually already done, so I can actually tick these off. That's not done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's not done yet. Yeah, so these. And again, if you see at the bottom, submit BC application, that is a building control application for the project that I'm working on. The reason why I haven't submitted these is because the work's got put on hold. So this is why it's sitting in the overdue file, because the client hasn't got the funds to complete the application. So again, we're just waiting. So instead of me like deleting the task, I just let it sit in overdue, and then when I come back to overdue, it's kind of like a little bit of a reminder as well, like, okay, cool, what's going on with this project? Do I need to take out my task completely, or is it going to sit here? And right now it's going to sit there. And I've also got completed, because sometimes you might just tick the box by accident, it's not completed, and then you're like, okay, you just literally go back here and take it out. And then lastly at the bottom, this is like my project site management area. So like this is letting me know like what projects are on site, where they are at, and how many overlaps. Sometimes I can have like 5 5 projects going on at a time that I gotta be visiting every 2 weeks, or I got none. But as you can see, we literally got one that started this week. I've got another one that's currently on the site, and I also have another one. I have another 2 starting next week. So again, a very, very busy September, or end of August going into September month. So I'm gonna just dive into kind of into the project system a little bit more, so you can kind of understand how these systems all interlink. But I'll just kind of to give like a quick overview. Okay, so diving into one of the projects that I'm currently showing you now, I'm going to make this big so you guys can see everything. However, I have blurred out certain information because obviously, again, this is my job, real life, and I don't want like names and companies being shown. So I hope you guys can respect that and understand and respect that. But the most important thing here is I have an updated button. So anytime I had any notes or change any information or task is complete, I update this project because it lets me know that this is an ongoing task. And because I have a system in place, which you would have seen on the home page, which says check these, this means that this project hasn't been checked in a while, and kind of to remind me like what's going on with these projects. Did you miss a follow-up? Is it on hold? It's kind of to give me that reminder that something's not been done. So yeah, that's the updated button. Now the next important thing is I have status, which lets me know like where we're at. So if you click it, it says not started, on site, on hold, in progress, or done. Again, just simply to let me know where the project is at. Then I have my project lead, or I have the client's name and project lead, which I've blurred out for privacy and, you know, to respectfully not, you know, show out too much information. Then I have the instruction date. The instruction date is basically when the client informs my company that they are happy for us to proceed with this. So for this example, this is a block of flats and it's external decorations. So it's basically decoration work outside. And then I always put the location, which obviously has been blurred out as well. And then I have like this overview formula that lets me know how many tasks are been completed and how many remained outstanding. As it stands, this task is at 100%. So all the background admin work has been done. However, it's not actually completed, or this status would have been changed to done. That probably means they are to start on site soon and probably have a start date arranged, which would come under the next section, which I'll show you with project sites. So underneath here, you can see the related tasks that are related to this project are obviously linked here, as well as the project start date, which is actually empty at this time because I only just issued the pre-start minutes, I think it was 2 days ago. And if I'm correct from my knowledge, I think it's due sometime in October to start. Then I have this linked to my notification dashboard that I showed you earlier. So this lets me know that this project is linked to that. So anything that I update in here, so start dates, everything, that notification board will also get updated. I also have the last updated date, which was July the 16th, as well as an updated status. So basically anything that hasn't been checked in 2 weeks gets this warning sign, as in check this project to see if anything has been outstanding and anything has been done. This does need to get updated because I did issue the pre-start minutes on Friday, just before bank holiday, so that does need to be updated. And then I also link this to reminders, so I also know which project is associated with, and then any random note. To be honest, this note thing needs to get deleted because I put my project notes here, so dates, no update, and kind of just to keep like any notes that I need to know about this project goes in here. So yeah, that's kind of like the overview of a project. That layout is the same for all my projects that I add here, no matter what company is. I'm gonna just quickly show you the check these system. These tasks all need to be checked if they haven't been checked in the last 2 weeks. So just for example, looking at some of these, I did get an update for the first one, the Arcadian Court. The start date has been delayed. So again, when I start work tomorrow, I'll probably look at these and be like, okay, cool, where are we at with these? And like basically provide an update. So I like this to be as empty as possible, but as you can see, there is a few here, which means that I probably haven't done this in just over a week. I try to do this every week. I don't really have a specific day, but I do try to do it weekly. That lets me know like where certain projects might be slipping through the cracks. So after this, again, I kind of already showed you my tasks section. Again, so I'm not going to kind of go into that because I kind of touched on that already. But my next like main system that I love is my project start dates, because I have a very, very flexible job where I work in the office, at home, and on site. Managing my projects and their timelines is so key, because then I can plan my site visits accordingly. So the first button here is, which I blurred out the names for these, but my first one is basically upcoming projects. So projects that are basically going to start soon. This kind of lets me know, gives me like a heads up, like what projects are coming up and when. Then I've got my list of my projects that are on site as it stands. So again, this will have all the information like location, the duration, when my next site visit is and the contractors that we're working with. Again, this also has a progress bar, which lets me know how far each project is, etc. I slightly added a new system, which you would have saw in the databases, which is the scope of works. But because I can't duplicate certain things all the time, as I'm adding the projects, I'm starting to kind of add in the scope of works. And I'll show you with a completed one in a second what that actually means. But that scope of works will generate a progress, so I know how far along on site these projects are. This is the timeline again, which I've recently showed you. So it lets me know which projects are on site, how far along they're gone as well. And it's just nice to see in more of a timeline point of view, because I don't know, I think it just looks great and you can easily see which projects overlap. And then ones that haven't been signed a date, which I don't have none because that's very rare. But for example, something could get put on hold or delayed, or materials or equipment and all this kind of stuff, scaffolding. If any of that kind of stuff has like delayed the overall project of work, that original start date will get cleared and then it will fall onto this category where there's no assigned date, because we might not have an agreed start date as to when we're gonna continue if it's been delayed or put on hold, for example. So going to this is literally all the jobs that I have had, and I'm gonna quickly show you the scope of work. So if I go into here, you can see this has got a progress bar of 100%. If we scroll down here, basically what it has is the scope of work. So this basically highlights everything that was agreed in the contract with the contractor and then as per the specification. I list out everything because, like for example, cleaning the boundary wall within the car park area, if at the time when I visited the site they've only put 50% of that down, then that will be 50%. So that lets me know that from my last visit, only if this was done 50%, or this hasn't started, or this is only done 10%. So it kind of lets me know, which will create an average of the percentage of how much is done. So when I'm writing up my site reports to send to the client, I have a more accurate percentage of how much has been done, so I don't have to guess. It's already there. I know for a fact that this is how much work has been done. This will all say 100% because this project is completed and has been signed off, and we're going to be doing the internal decorations towards the end of the year. But as it stands, this is completed. So again, so for each single scope of works that is on the specification, this helps me to know where the contractors are at, exactly what is on the scope of works, because sometimes clients can get confused and think something's in it when it's not. And it also lets me know how much work's been done. So if the contractor was to ever put invoicing for 50%, but my scope of work is showing me you've only done 30%, I can query that based on my client and be like, well, how do we get to 50 when you've only done 30% to my knowledge? So can you explain where the 20% of works has come from? So that's why I love this, because instead of relying on what the contractor is telling you, you get on site like, oh, we've done 50%, you know for a fact they've done 30%. And that's what I love. And this is something I knew I've implemented because I want to be assured that XYZ is being ticked off percentage wise, because sometimes you might get there and it's not fully complete. So instead of like ticking off on a tick sheet, I could put down 30%, I could put down 75%, I could put down 55. Do you know what I mean? And you can kind of have that conversation on site, and that's kind of why I love this scope of work system. And again, these are all linked together and they all fall under one, which is the overall project, similar to what I showed you earlier. Obviously the ones I showed you earlier, they haven't kicked off on site, so there's no scope of works. The only thing about my scope of work section is I do have to add them in individually. So all of these you see now, I have to add them in. But again, if you want a powerful project management system where it's going to fit and manage your projects to the T, you kind of have to figure out that like there's only so much Notion can do for you. But it works for me because again, when I do get agreed start dates, I do try to plan days where I'm going to put in the scope of works, and some scope of works are not this long, some are actually quite short, some are longer than this. It just depends. Each project varies. So again, like for like window replacements or roof replacements, there might not be as much as you can see here, whereas this is an external decoration, so we literally could be cleaning and redecorating multiple things that are in an external area of a communal block of flats, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel like that is my whole system, and that is how I manage my projects as a building surveyor. Obviously, I have seen a few people's comments as people want me to bring back my daily vlogs. Again, I didn't think people were interested in this, so I definitely will bring more back day in the lives of a building surveyor, and you can actually see me use this system live. However, if you actually enjoyed this system and would like something similar for your job, I think this is best for people who are managing multiple projects, whether that's in construction or not, and something you need to keep track of and maybe just amend it accordingly. But if not, if you do work in construction and you do want a very construction heavy based project similar to mine, guys here, please let me know in the comments and I can get this made into a template for you guys, and you guys can feel free to download it and let me know your feedback if you find it helpful. However, if you do have any questions about my system or just me as a building surveyor and what it's like working in the construction industry as a woman, then let me know. I do have an updated career video coming soon because someone did ask me for a career update, so I will drop one of those coming really soon. But apart from that, I'm gonna love and leave you, and definitely like, comment, subscribe if you love my Notion videos and if you love my Growing with Notion series as well. And if not, I will definitely catch you in my next one. Love you. Bye.